Happy Saturday. I hope your weekend is off to a great start. Another episode of Build the Classic 1966 Batmobile is coming at you. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio. Welcome back to Superhero Saturday. My name is Jeff. And today we are going to be doing issues 39 and 40 of the Build the Batmobile build. So we're going to be working on the rear brake drums and doing some more brake lines. So remember, when we do brake lines, we have that tubing. And as I mentioned in the build portion, pay no attention to the diagrams in the manual. Use a ruler. That's the rule of the day. So let's get into the build. Here's issue 39. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are fitting the brake drums to the assembly as well as installing the brake lines. So we get some tubing and some brake parts here. So we have done this before. So we're going to be doing all of this, and then this is what we're going to be doing. So here's the parts pack. All right, so here are the parts. I'm going to leave them in the tray because these two parts are very tiny. So let's see what we have here. We have the right and left brake drums, the backing plates, then we have the brake lines, and then for these teeny tiny little parts here, this is the rear brake line bracket, and this is the brake hose junction. So I love when the parts are that small. This is going to be fun. So the first thing we want to do is grab the brake line. So I'm going to set that aside. So let's get this untangled here. Oh my gosh. Here we go. So we have a lot. And this is all one piece. Okay, so they give us measurements that we need to do this, but remember, we've been burned by these illustrations before. They're telling us this is 50 millimeters. So remember, millimeters can be converted into centimeters. So 50 millimeters is 5 centimeters. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that, yeah, that is nowhere near 5 centimeters. And yeah, no, it is not. This is 5 centimeters. So if we use the guide, here we would be off on our measurements. So this has happened to us before. So now instead of using these guides, because in the first time we got this, it was completely wrong. But the next 2 times we got it, it was absolutely correct. And then now it's wrong again. So never trust this. Always just measure it with a ruler. So we need one 50 millimeters, so that's 5 centimeters. So I'm going to put that there, put that there. So there's our 5 centimeter line. Now we need one 150 millimeter, which would be 15 centimeters. So again, let's go here. And that's our 15 centimeter. And then we need, oh my goodness. So we need 3 that are 500 millimeter or 50 centimeters. So yeah, my ruler only goes to 30 centimeters. So we're going to have to do a little creative measure here. So that is 50. So then let's just use this to measure the other 2 with that much to spare. So here's our 3 50 millimeter, or 50 centimeter, 500 millimeter. So this is our extra I'm going to set aside. So the first thing we want to do is take the junction, which is this teeny tiny little piece right here. And in the top, we want to take one of our 500 millimeter lengths and put it right on that, just like so. So I'm going to set that aside because it wants us to bring over the vehicle and make sure that this goes under this frame. And there is a little hole back here, and I will take a picture of it for you when I get this attached, because I mean, I can barely see it, so I know that you can't, especially at the angle that we're at. But there is a little lug on the bottom of this part, so we are just going to take this. So that pushes on, and it sits in there very snug, so you shouldn't need any glue. Alright, so we're pulling that out. Okay, so now we want to take the left brake drum. So I'm not sure if these are stamped at all. Oh, yeah, it looks like that has... Yep, they are. So this one has an L on it. So there are 2 holes and then 2 little lugs here on either side. So we are going to take our 50 millimeter, so our little the smallest one that we cut, and it is going, as they're showing it on the top. Actually, that fits on there real tight, so I'm not going to glue it. So then we want to take another one of our long pieces, and we want to put that on the other end, the other little lug here. Yep, and that fits on there really good. So we want to attach this to, or we want to put this here with the lines facing inside. And these 2 holes, there are little lugs on this axle piece that are going to kind of help keep that, or line that up, I guess. Even though I don't think we're going to be screwing it or attaching it in this episode. So this little small end, we want to go into the junction that we put on. And again, this is really tricky for big hand people. I'm going to set it up on its side so I can kind of see that a little better. Okay, we finally got it. So the problem is there's not a ton of room to maneuver, and the little peg is very close to the axle, so there's not a lot of room there. Okay, so let me kind of get some of this out of the way here. So let me turn the car back over. Okay, I thought I was losing my mind. I ended up putting my 150 millimeter one in my scrap pile, and I was like, where is this dumb thing? So we got it. All right, so we want to take our 150 and then our remaining 500. So now the 150 is going over to our junction box. Okay, so we got that on, and then we want to take this little bracket. So that little bracket is going to hold this brake line that we just put in. Okay, there we go. And then now we have the car upside down. Alright, so actually they have this facing this way. They want us to... Alright, so the one from the junction box, they want us to feed through here. Again, our tweezers are going to come in handy. Alright, so that one, it wants us to go there. We want to go along here. I'm just going to hook that in there for now. This one, again. So it says, prepare the 3 500mm pieces for later assembly by feeding them through the underside of the car as shown. So we've fed them through. They're not asking us to attach them to anything yet, but we have them fed through. And then it says that we are keeping these in a safe place for later assembly. So that is it for issue 39. Here's issue 40. Oh, and we get another wheel thing that they're stretching out. So we get the outer wheel and the center wheel. So, okay, get ready. Here are the parts. Okay, so there we go. And there we go. That's it. So in the next episode, I'm sure we will get the tire and the other piece that will sandwich it all together and we'll screw it together. But yeah, that's it. So let's move on to the Lego portion. Okay, here we are in the Lego portion. Remember from last episode, we were working on this front section here. So let's keep going. Okay, that is it for the Lego portion. So again, we're working up here on this front bumper area. So we installed this area here. And that is it for the Lego portion for this episode. All right, let's bring over the part work and see what we've got here. So here we go. So for this episode, the part work version, we worked on these brake lines and got those threaded through. And then we have our leftover backing pieces that we're saving for later. And then in issue 40, we got this very lame wheel parts. So I imagine in the next episode, we'll get the rest of the wheel and then we'll put one of these on. And then in the next 2 or 3, we'll get the other side. That's kind of how it went. And then for the Lego side, we concentrated on this front section. So it seems like on the part work build, we're still concentrating kind of on the back, other than, you know, last episode we put the floor pans in, but now we're still concentrating back here in the rear portion of the car, whereas the Lego version we've kind of moved up to the front. So that's where we are for this episode. Okay, so for the Lego version, I like that we're sticking with the front part of the car. We're sort of giving that some love since we had been focusing on the rear for a while. For the scale model version, yeah, this episode, I mean, the brake drums and the brake lines and everything, that was cool, but then we got those 2 parts at the end of that issue that we're just putting aside, and then of course we got another one of those let's see how long we can stretch out building a wheel parts in issue 40, where we did nothing. We just got 2 parts and we put them on top of each other. We didn't even like attach them to each other or anything. So I'm sure coming up in the future episodes, we'll complete that wheel and get it attached to the rear axle. But let's get into our summary. So for the scale model version, we completed 10 steps and used 9 parts. For the Lego version, 14 steps and 32 parts. And that brings us for a total to date of 222 steps for the scale model with 257 parts and 267 steps in the Lego version using 667 parts. So just like the DeLorean build, we keep piling on the parts and we just keep rolling along. Hopefully we won't have too many more episodes where we get sort of nothing to do, but we shall see. So remember to like, share, subscribe, comment down below with any questions or comments you have. And until I see you again, remember, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and I'll see you soon.